seen as the most extraordinary place in the universe. This is because out of an expanding cosmos with trillions of galaxies and countless other stars and planets, Earth is the only place that is known to possess the rarest and most valuable entity, life. This blue planet is home to all different forms of life, everything from single-celled organisms to two-toned rhinos. Yet, the life that has dominated this world, making the biggest impacts on the planet, is a species known as the Homo sapiens. Humans have built empires from the ground up, acting like greedy kings, taking and abusing all that this world has to offer. Just this year alone, the population has pumped 4 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide into the frail atmosphere. My personal knowledge and studies of the changing environmental conditions has led me to understand that the abuse, overuse, and wasting of organic and inorganic matter has caused the human race to endanger not only millions of other living species, but also itself. As Gandhi once warned, what we are doing to the forests of the world is but a minor reflection of what we are doing to ourselves and one another. Serious action needs to be taken in order to put a stop or major repression on the burning of and misuse of fossil fuels. Or one day this chemical warfare between man and nature will lead to the destruction of the environment and the billions of species and organisms that inhabit it, and will further result in the catastrophic extinction of the human race. Within the few last decades, the Earth's environment has been forced to come face to face with the chemical wrongdoings of man. With the growth of mass manufacturing and burning of fossil fuels around the world, factories have alone pumped 26 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide into the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in not only dense chemical fogs that cover cities, but also slowly adding to the destruction of the environment and all the animals and life it holds in its midst. Gail Zawacki, an environmental scientist who studies the changes in environments due to pollution, has composed articles for the Library of Scientific Research, stating how scientists have documented how local, regional, and global sources of air pollution can produce profound changes in an ecosystem. These changes include acidification of soils and surface waters, harmful algae blooms, and low oxygen conditions in estuaries. This also can further result in the reduced diversity of native plants and high levels of mercury in fish and other wildlife. The lack of care taken on behalf of the environment is resulting in the destruction of the hand that supports the human race, Mother Nature. Pollution has crept its way from the land to the depths of the sea. Global warming has started to cause the world's northern and southern ice caps to start to melt and wither away, resulting in the rise of sea levels. Bob Kopp, a climate scientist at the Institute for Climate Impact Research, recently concluded that the world's sea levels have risen faster in the 20th century than in the past 2,700 years. Yet, in the vast growing oceans, the ability of marine life to survive has been put to the test as a result of the rise in water pollution levels. In correlation to the rise of ocean temperatures, increase of chemical runoff from factories, and acid rain, marine biologists have seen a 49% decrease of marine life. Within the last 40 years, the vast oceans that once held the foundations of life are now faced with cataclysmic loss. Brian Palmer, who is a scientific journalist with On Earth, has been tracking the expanding dead zones across the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. Palmer explains how a stretch of the Gulf of Mexico, spanning more than 5,000 square miles along the Louisiana coast, is nearly devoid of marine life. Caused largely by nitrogen runoff from farm fertilizers, this oxygen-deprived dead zone is approximately the size of Connecticut. The Earth is the only home that the human race knows. The destruction of the Earth's environment and sea levels will one day in the not-so-distant future result in the deterioration of the human race. During the Earth's 4 billion years of existence, the human race has proven to be one of the most genius species to have ever lived and ruled on this big blue planet. In the Homo sapiens' short lifespan of 200,000 years, mankind has been able to build means of transportation that flies across the sky and sails across vast oceans, building skyscrapers that stand as tall as mountains. Mankind has had the ability to sustain and support their species, resulting in world domination over all other forms of life. The human race stands tall with pride, but in this case, its pride unmistakably clouds its judgment. With the constant destruction of the environment from the burning of fossil fuels, the human race is bound to face its own premature extinction. The gases pumped into the environment are suffocating much of the life that once flourished on Earth. Within the past 40 years, scientists have witnessed the deterioration of the ozone layer. The ozone layer is a belt of naturally occurring ozone gas that lies in the uppermost layers of the atmosphere. The ozone layer is the only thing that protects the human race from the dangerous ultraviolet rays emitted from the sun. Stephen G. has completed years of research corresponding to the depletion of the ozone layer and has recently written an article for National Geographic stating that today there is a widespread concern that the ozone layer is deteriorating due to the release of pollution containing the chemicals chlorine and bromine. Such deterioration allows large amounts of ultraviolet B rays to reach Earth, which can cause skin cancer, DNA mutations, and cataracts in humans. The synthetic gases pumped into the environment are finding their ways into the lungs of all living creatures, filling their bodies with abominable chemicals. In Problem Pollution, an article written by a scientist from the Web of Creation, the correspondent to the article warns that every chemical we use, every substance we produce in manufactured farming, energy use, or consumption remains here on Earth. These poisons may seem to disappear, but they are only hidden. An estimate of 65% of the air breathed by population has traces of pollution. Air pollution kills an estimate of 3 million people each year. This is 3 times the amount of people that die from automobile accidents. The human race will be the victim of its own wrongdoings to Mother Nature. Many people are unaware of the destruction caused by fossil fuels as a cause of misleading information displayed by big businesses to steer the population away from the truth. In a world with a growing population of 7 billion people, many believe that the burning of fossil fuels is necessary to keep up with the maintenance of the population. As the world faces overpopulation and all of that population buys and consumes manufactured products, big businesses have reached an all-time high with the correlation of the burning of fossil fuels. Many big businesses use forms of innocent persuasion to convince the public that the burning of fossil fuels is necessary for survival. In the media, big businesses propose that fossil fuels are cheap and reliable sources of energy, far more reliable than the sources such as wind and solar. Some other ads claim that fossil fuels are saving the world. Although the use of fossil fuels has greatly benefited the growth of technological advancements by fueling cars, helping produce common items used by man, sending man to space, and even lighting the world. Yet, even with the needs of the growing population, there are many alternatives to the burning of fossil fuels. That, in effect, will still help to support the human race without damaging the environment. Clean air companies have fought hard to undo and prevent the further damage that fossil fuels will cause to the environment. Companies like Whole Foods, Kohl's, and Danone have begun using solar power, wind power, and biomass, promoting the use of natural and pro-environmental entities that will result in a clean form of energy. Wind power is currently the cheapest and most popular form of reusable energy. Nick Danielson and other scientists working with the Natural Resource Defense Council defend the use of turbine-powered energy, stating that the U.S. can produce more than 10 times its energy needed through wind power, one of the fastest-growing energy sources. Turbines use wind to generate electricity without creating pollutants. For years, the public has misconceived the dangers of fossil fuels, but now that the world is forced to face the facts, many people have become motivated to change the way that energy is created and consumed. Many species that have prevailed on this precious planet were forced to face an inevitable extinction, either from asteroid crashes, catastrophic volcanic eruptions, or floods. The most intelligent and beautiful species that has ever ruled the planet, the human race, will also face the end of its life. Not from the harsh conflicts of Mother Nature, but instead from the man-made wrongdoings of the environment. The excessive burning of fossil fuels is adding to the destruction of not only the environment and the creatures it holds, but also the life of the human race. Through the centuries of technological advancements, the human race has been able to test their mental limits, thriving towards the understanding of all that nature has to offer. This understanding has helped the world to see the production of energy in a more green and efficient way, steering the world away from fossil fuels and pushing the public towards more essential ways of fulfilling the needs of the population. The gift of intelligence that each human possesses will help this world to become, once again, a place where life can flourish, prosper, and continue to evolve the way nature intends.